Hey, it's Fabulous Feasts at home. Well, I always film from home, but this is a special 4th of July show because we're having a really cool clam bake. We're having a clam bake inside. Why? Because lobsters happen to be on sale. And while I was getting lobsters, this guy's climbing out, I noticed the shrimp was just beautiful. So I got some shrimp and then some clams. They didn't have steamer clams, so we went with some cherry stone little necks, right? So those are great. And then corn. So it's gonna be a real simple clam bake at home on the stove. So how are we gonna do this? Well, of course, the corn's shucked. I have my steamer pot here. So it's just a big pot with a steaming tray inside of it. Corn's gonna go first. So let's put the corn in. And it's early in the season for the corn here, so we'll see how sweet it's gonna be, but I think it'll turn out just right. The corn's gonna go in first. It's a little thin. You know, when you're picking the corn, you know, it gets to the market, it sits in the refrigerator for a while, but if you can, look at the bottom of the husk and look for the husks that are the freshest, because that's how you can tell if it was recently picked. Because when the husk dries out at the bottom, that means the corn's a little bit older, so that's a tip for you on how to pick out fresh corn. If it's going to be sweet, well, what I could do is just take a bite now and see. And it is going to be sweet. Early in the season, so you just never know. Corn goes in first. Then lobsters go in second, and they're alive. Now, I like male lobsters. Why do I get male lobsters? Because I want more meat in the tail. If you get female lobsters, they're gonna have roe in there, and if you have roe in there, well, there's gonna be less tail meat. I have patients that love roe, and they just think it's great. Me, I prefer lobster tail meat, so I always get males. How do you know it's a male? You have to look at the little legs, and if those little legs are big, those are males. If these first two legs are tiny, those are girls. So I look for males, and they just ask your fishmonger. So that goes in, and then clams. Just put them right in over the top. Put the lid on it, and it's going to go on the stove and steam it right in here. Till the lobsters are done, the clams will be done, and the corn will be done. Put it on, turn it on high, let it go. 10, 15 minutes, depending how long it takes for your pot to come up to steam. If you want to cook the lobster a little bit quicker, and if you're concerned about the lobsters being boiled so quickly, you can bring your pot up to steam first, pull it off the heat, then load it, then put it back on, but you know, I wouldn't be overly concerned. Now, everything's in there except for one thing, except my shrimp. My beautiful, wild caught, fresh shrimp. Look at this shrimp. It is just beautiful. Pink, firm, just wonderful. That's why I bought it. Generally, I don't put shrimp in my clam bakes, but it's just beautiful shrimp. All I had to do is take the shell off and devein it, and we deveined it, and it was just beautiful. So this goes in at the end. It takes 3 minutes to make shrimp cocktail in boiling water. So once that steam is up and just about done, the lobsters are nice and pink, and you can just see that they're cooked through. You can tell by the color. Pull them out, throw the shrimp in while the lobsters cool off. Everything will be done. So shrimp goes in at the very end, and then for dessert, it's watermelon. So one of my fondest memories growing up at the beach was clam bakes. Most of the time it was lobsters, steamers, corn. Sometimes we had clams like I made in this show, but we got so into it that we even designed our own clam bake pot. We took a, gosh, I don't know, I was a young kid at the time. It wasn't a 50-gallon steel drum, but we took I guess probably 25-gallon steel drum, cut it off, and we made a steel lid for it, put a spigot on the bottom, so as everything steamed, we could get the broth, and we would have the seafood broth for the steamer clams, and then the lobsters and the corn would go with it. Later in the year, we would do the clam bakes with crabs, fresh blue claw crabs that we would catch in the bay. And great memories. It was Sunday afternoon. The whole family would get together. My brother would come with his in-laws, and it was clams and lobster and crabs and corn and beer. And no Old Bay, just steamed. And yeah, we'd have to make an open fire because it was a big old steel drum that we cut the top off and then made a lid that we could put onto it. I don't know where my father, found welders to make these parts and to cut it out, and the spigot was sealed in there. So it was really a great time, a lot of good memories. So today's a clam bake on the stove, and it works just as well, because it is just steaming it, but clam bake on the beach with a live fire and all that broth. Wow, good memories. So we'll have some drawn butter probably tonight with this dish too, but most of the time was all about the seafood and family. So that's what it was all about. And my herb garden's in honor of my dad too. He used to send me down and get the fresh basil and the fresh parsley every time we needed it. So give me the scissors, tell me how much to go cut, and made sure I got the right pieces for him. So hope you'll enjoy the clam bake too. That's how Fabulous Feast rolls at home. It is about eating well every day. My patients ask me all the time, do you eat like that at home? Yeah, I do. The foods I cook on my show, we eat at home. How I eat are the meals that I choose to show you. Why? Because let medicine be thy food, and let food be thy medicine, just like Hippocrates says. And you can eat foods that'll reduce inflammation, improve your health, and improve your wellness, or you can choose to eat foods that'll make your life less vital. It is that simple. An anti-inflammatory diet, foods that are high in omega-3 fatty acids, foods that are low in omega-6 fatty acids, give you a low glycemic index. That's the way to go to live better, to live longer, to have less genetic expression of disease. So, I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio. Thanks for tuning in for this special 4th of July clam bake on the stove. Thanks for tuning in.